Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for what feels like the middle of January in 2024, but it's actually the homecoming week edition of the Gary Dunn Show. On the first day, I think we've hit 30 degrees. Cold morning here in the studio in California, PA, but Coach, it's always good to have you in here, especially after a big win on Saturday in conference. But first off, what about this weather? All year we've been talking about the weather's been great, and then, I mean, it's not raining, but it's like 10 degrees out there.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, but I will take it because I saw the forecast for Saturday, and it's supposed to be 68 and sunny. So we'll take a little cold weather on Tuesday and Wednesday if we're going to have a nice Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's a little teaser for later in the
show.
Go. Big day Saturday coming up, so stay tuned for the show. But first, Coach, let's look at this past Saturday. Once again, we're in the middle of PSAC play, and every game is a dogfight here on it in Seton Hill, despite their record. And we talked about it last week. They weren't going to go anywhere, and they were going to give 100%, and it really showed. That was a dogfight on Saturday night, but your team gutted out a very tough win on the road.
Really, really proud of our guys, to bounce back from an obviously tough defeat the week before on the last play of the game. A lot of times in coaching, you talk to your team about that could cost you 2 games. When you lose a game like that, in the magnitude of the rivalry and everything, we talked to our guys about all week, don't let that one cost you 2. Our culture and our character didn't allow it. A year ago, they ended up losing after we won a heartbreaker, they ended up losing their next game. And our guys just didn't allow it. We had a really good second half of the week of practice, and our guys went up and played. And I told them all week, Seton Hill's a good football team. Their record isn't indicating how good they are. They've got an extremely tough defense. They're senior guys all over the board. The defense they run is totally different than anything you see at any level of football. I've never seen a defense quite like theirs, and they're really good at it. So we knew it was going to be tough offensively. I was really happy with the way we played 3 quarters defensively. We really shut them down for 3 quarters, and then at the end we give up a couple plays in the 4th quarter, but never felt like the game was in question. But give Seton Hill credit; they showed up to play. They played hard the entire time. They kind of got momentum a little bit there in the 4th quarter, but again was proud of the way we finished the game.
Well, I'm glad you talked about their defense because I feel like I've seen a lot of football in my life, both college, pro, and high school, and there were times out there I was looking at their defensive formation. I had no idea what they were thinking or what they were trying to do. And it's just testament to your staff and your offense to prepare for that.
Yeah, it really breaks a lot of your rules. It really breaks a lot of the things that you teach all season long. This is the way we do it. And then you get to this week and, okay, we're not doing it that way this week. We're going to do it this way. And I thought our guys did a really good job. But, when you face a defense like that, it's going to create problems at certain times. And we had a couple protection busts. They brought 1 blitz that they hadn't shown. They do a really good job of doing it. And, there's holes in the defense, and when you find them, you can get big plays, and that's what we did. Obviously, Jaquay had a big day catching the ball. We ran the ball efficiently. If you have 7 guys in the box, they're going to put 8. If you put 8, they're always going to outnumber you to stop the run. That's kind of what they're built on. But I thought we ran it efficiently when we needed to, and then at the end of the game, we had some big runs to put it away. Yeah,
at the end of the game, we talked a couple times this year about your 4-minute offense, either at the end of the half or the end of the game, and when you got a chance to – it was 21-14 in the 4th quarter, but your offense got the ball back and never gave Seton Hill a chance to tie it up or do anything.
Yeah, it was, and that's really hard to do against that defense, to run the football. We got 2 big first downs, and then at the end we were making sure, I called a couple timeouts just to make sure we had our – I'm not a great math guy, to make sure that we had our math right, that we could go ahead and take the knee and get out of there. And talk to our guys afterwards. We're never going to apologize for a win. That's, in the PSAC, you got to show up to play every week and give Seton Hill credit, give their coaches credit, on their side that, it could have been easy for them just to show up and finish out the season. They didn't do that. They played extremely hard, and they got some talented kids.
Yeah, if you looked in their stands and their sideline, that was their bowl game, their Super Bowl all wrapped up in one. As we talked about before, there's only about 35 minutes separating the 2 campuses. Every game, even though California has never lost Seton Hill, but every game is tough. They've been in every game, and like I said, that 4th quarter the momentum started shifting. But I thought your team, like I said, did a great job just taking the couple body blows and reacting and getting out of there with a win.
Yeah, their coaches did a great job, and like I said, I was proud of our guys. We finished the game the way we needed to, and moving on to the next.
And I'm glad you brought up about the math, because I'm sitting in the press box, I'm talking with our camera people, we're trying to figure out how many snaps it's going to take. I'm like, I think the game's over, but you just never know when clock starts and stops.
Well, the thing is, there was about a 5-second differential to where we knew we had it. But and Coach Salisbury was the one that said, "Coach, we can take a knee here." And I said, "Hold on, let's make sure of this." But you got to take into account the time that it's going to set for the referee to set the ball, and we just wanted to make sure that we were right and not making a mistake in that situation. And obviously, we were right.
Well, I'm glad you called the timeout because I ran out of fingers and toes, and I'm like, well, if they're calling a timeout, I think we're close.
We just wanted to talk about it to make sure we got our charts and we got our things and all those things. But at the end of the day, Coach Salisbury was right, and I was just double checking his math.
And one last thing before we go into the highlights, it was a road game, but I mean, your bus drivers had to be happy it was just down the road because you've had some epic road trips this year already. Just non-conference across the state. Shepherd, West Virginia, and Clarion's not exactly across the river.
Yeah, no, it's nice that it's that close, but it makes for a long day. We met our guys. We had our guys meet us at the stadium at 1:30, and we had a walkthrough. And then we come down to the Tally Student Center for our team meal before, and then we get on the bus and we go. So you're talking about we're up at the stadium at 1:30 for a 6 o'clock game. It makes it a long day for our guys, and so I was proud of the way they handled the trip, and it just. These games, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. You got your guys doing a walkthrough at 1:30 for a 6 o'clock kick, and then you sit around until 6 o'clock.
And we were there at 6 o'clock, and we'll bring you the highlights from this past week against Seton Hill. Then we'll look ahead to this week's action in the PSAC. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Mitchell. Hands off McCann once again. McCann, nice spin into the end zone. Touchdown, Vulcans. Vulcans able to strike first, and what a spin by Eric McCann. Mitchell gets the snap looking to his left, trying to find someone in the back of the end zone. It's going to be caught for the touchdown. That time, Cam Tarrant able to pull that one in. So just like that, few plays, and Vulcans march the way right down the field. Gets the snap, looking to his left, firing deep down the field once again. That pass is caught for the touchdown. Vulcan stacking the box, hands it off to Coquette one more time. Coquette trying to get that outside angle. Is going to trip up, make his way into the end zone for the touchdown. So the Seton Hill Griffins able to strike in this game. Gets the snap, firing towards the end zone. That pass caught in the end zone, touchdown. That time Mark Bales able to pass that one in. And just like that, 21-0 has turned into 21-13.
More attractions. More fear. Survive the clowns in Twisted Nightmare 3D. Experience more scares than ever before. Haunted Hills Estate Scream Park returns September 9th. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
Grover with the snap, pulling it back, firing downfield, and it's caught there. And that's a Slippery Rock touchdown. Looking to the end zone, and that's a touchdown for Slippery Rock. The Rock up 2nd and 22. Quick little pass is caught there by the Rock. He's still on his feet, trying to switch the field, making Vulcan defenders miss. He picks up the first down and a lot more. He has a lot of green in front of him. He's at the Vulcan 20, 15, 10, 5, and that's a Slippery Rock touchdown. Mitchell with the snap. Dropping back, firing downfield, and he's caught! It's caught by Derek Lockhart, and the Vulcans are up on the board for 6. Snap, Pico's kick is up, and it is through the uprights. Put 3 up on the board for the Vulcans. Takes the snap, rolling off to his right. He's going to try to go himself in the back of the end zone. It's intercepted! Intercepted by Cal U! It's Dominic Sullivan Jr. intercepting Grover's pass. Takes the snap, drops back. Feeling pressure, steps up, firing, and then another interception! Interception by Cal U, and it's Jamal Martin Jr. Grover, again, dropping back. Pressure, firing in the middle of the field, and he catches it. He's wide open. Taylor misses the tackle, and it's an SRU touchdown. Mitchell giving it to Cameron. Cameron, are they going to say he's in? And he is in. It's Isaiah Cameron for the Cal U touchdown. Mitchell takes the snap, dropping back, firing deep, and caught. And that is a Cal U touchdown, hauled in nicely by Derek Lockhart.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV. And Coach, we just saw the highlights from this past weekend. And before we talk about a lot to talk about this week, it's kind of a busy week here on campus. We're going to take a look at the rest of the scores in the PSAC over this past week again. Conference play, we talked ad nauseum about the California Seton Hill game. IUP went up to Edinburgh, won 41-0. Gannon and Slippery Rock pulled away in that game 40-14, and then Clarion goes to Mercyhurst and wins on a walk-off field goal 23-21. And then on the other side of the Susquehanna River, Millersville went to Shepherd. Scores 55-17, but it was about 24-17 with 5 minutes left, and Shepherd exploded for, and we're not going to do the math because we just explained math isn't our expertise, but they get the win 55-17. Kutztown going to Shippensburg, winning 29-10. Bloomsburg going to Lock Haven, winning 17-9, and then Westchester outlasting East Stroudsburg 24-21. Coach, and there's one score on here. It's a regional score, not a conference score, but I don't know if you saw it. I believe it was Concord and Charleston played to a 68-60 game, so that means a team that scored 60 points loses. Statistically,
I did see that, and I thought, I was thinking, did they sub a basketball score in there? But the basketball season hadn't started yet, so then I figured out it was football. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I was looking at the stats because first I wanted to see how long that game went. It only went about 3 hours and 52, only 3 hours and 52 minutes for 128 points, but I believe one offense had 700 and some yards, the other had 600, so just for a second.
Crazy.
What would it be like being on the sideline?
Miserable.
Okay.
Absolutely miserable. We pride ourselves on playing great defense here, and to be in a ball game like that would be miserable.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, I got to ask Coach about that just to see. Because I know as a fan, well, I don't know, as a fan that might be great, but I know working the game, that 3 hours and 52 minutes is a little long.
No good.
Well, that puts the bow on this past week, and we turn the page to this coming week's opponent, and it's a big week this week. I mean, every week's a big week, but also we have the added I don't know about distraction, but the added festivities of homecoming this week. We'll talk first about the game and then all the periphery stuff. But Slippery Rock, Cal, always a big game in terms of conference, regional rankings, playoffs. I know you're going to say it's the next game on the schedule, but first let's break it down on offense. What did they do well? Because they have an exciting offense.
Yeah, they're really, really good. They're averaging, I think, just about 430 yards a game offensively. They've got a senior quarterback that's doing a really, really good job. They've got a tailback that's rushing for over, I think I just saw 4 weeks in a row he's had over 100 yards. They're balanced. I think they run for 170 and pass for 240. So really, and then they have playmakers on the outside. They kind of run an air raid offense where they're inside-outside zone and mostly spread sets, but they do got a heck of a tight end that creates some problems and some mismatch stuff. They're a really explosive offense, so we're going to have to do our best this week.
And it seems like I watched a little bit of the game this past weekend because, of course, we were the night game. It just seems like they keep coming at you, coming at you.
Yeah, you got to tackle well. Part of their deal is they get you in space, and they've got some dynamic playmakers with the ball in their hand. And if you don't tackle well, it's a 70-yard. A lot of games where you miss a tackle, the other guys are rallying the ball and you get an 8 to 10 yard gain. You miss a tackle this week, it might go 60 or 70.
And in a close game, I mean, every play counts. Now, on the other side of the ball, defensively, what is the key to attacking the defense?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, obviously they've got one loss so far to a really good football team. They're good up front. They've got good linebackers, but they're really strong on the back end. They're going to play man coverage all across the field on us. They're going, they're not a huge blitz team. They'll bring pressure at times. But they stop the run and they play man coverage on the back end. So we're going to have to beat man coverage, and we're going to have to find a way to run the football successfully.
What's the message to the team this week? Because, I mean, this big game,
Yeah.
like I said, it's always a big rivalry. It's one of the two games everyone always looks at the schedule, Cal IEP, Cal Slippery Rock. So what's the message?
It's about us. I talked to our guys yesterday in our team meeting that, a lot of the misfortune that we've had this year has been self-inflicted. We've held the lead in 7 games going into the fourth quarter. And for whatever reason, we just haven't finished. And a lot of times it's mental breakdowns. It's a missed tackle here, it's a missed assignment here that leads to a drive. And the same thing offensively. It's we don't execute, at that time in the fourth quarter that can keep the ball moving. And we've lost a couple heartbreakers, one in overtime, one on a crazy call that we're not going to get into, but it's about us. We've got to be about our details. I just got done meeting with our coaching staff and said, listen, if we make a mistake in practice, we're repeating it. We're not moving on to the next play until it's perfect. I talked to our coaching staff in meetings this week. I want every kid taking notes on mistakes they make, and then I want you to make them read them back to you after the meeting. So if we prepare the way that I know we will, and we're about our details, and we're on our assignments, that's going to be a big key for us.
And it's going to be a big weekend this week. Of course, the game's 3:30, and there's a reason. It's 3:30 game. It's homecoming week. What's it like as a coaching staff trying to mitigate the distractions around homecoming week? Or does it not really filter down just because you're so locked in?
Yeah, it really doesn't. We stay on the same schedule every week. There are some things that our guys are going to take part in on campus, and that's great. They're here to go to college and enjoy the experience. I want them to enjoy homecoming week. But I tell our guys also, our homecoming Saturday after the game. So there are some activities that they're going to take part, just like the regular students do. But when it's time to work, we've got to work. It's an exciting week. Homecoming's really about the alumni. Being an alumni myself, I have a ton of friends coming back. I got a friend from Florida coming in. I got a friend from New York coming in. I got a friend from Ohio coming in. It seems like a lot of the guys that I played with will be here, and so I know we'll have a great crowd.
I was just going to say, it seems like the last couple of homecomings, I mean, you have both sides of the to the end zones filled with your former players and stuff, and it's great to see. Now, as a former player yourself, I always like to ask this every year. What's a favorite memory of yours from a homecoming game that you played in?
Just the alumni coming back. I think that's always the thing. When you're playing and you play as a freshman, and then those seniors leave, is to have those guys that you had a relationship with come back and watch you play. And then the second year, so it's just that continuum of building friends. I had a lot of great friends that were seniors when I was a freshman. Just seeing those guys come back and enjoying being together is really the memories I have.
And we talked about at the top of the show, the weather, Coach. I'll let you be the weather person today.
68 degrees and sunny is what it said. So it's going to be a great day. Kickoff's at 3:30. I know they've got things planned up at the tailgate. It's going to be a great day here in California.
Yeah, come down to campus for the parade, then make your way up, get in the tailgate lots and party, and come on in, because the last couple home games, if you weren't there, shame on you, because it's been an electric atmosphere. Once again, 3:30. CUTV will have everything on CUTV Sports 1 and the PSAC network, and we'll take one last trip around the PSAC, just see the other games.
One last thing, let's end the tailgate around 3:20, 3:25 and get into the stadium. It's been great, but let's get in a little bit earlier.
Well, you say the word, Coach. I think I can block out the feed, so they have to come in and watch. They can't play cornhole and watch our feed. So
there you go.
We'll see. We'll do some computer things for you, but that's a direct order from Coach. Get in there by 3. Let's make it 3:15.
3:15's easy round number.
Now let's look around the conference this week. Coming to the tail end of the season here, we talked about Cal Slippery Rock. Edinburgh travels to Clarion, Mercyhurst travels to Gannon, and Seton Hill travels to IUP. So a lot of close road trips for everybody in the West. And over in the East, Shepherd goes to Westchester, Shippensburg goes to Millersville, East Stroudsburg goes to Bloomsburg, and Lock Haven goes to Kutztown. And a quick look at the standings, we talk in the West. The top 4, IUP, Slippery Rock, Gannon, and Cal, all separated by one game. IUP 4-0, and everyone else 3-1 in the conference. Then over in the PSAC, Shepherd 4-0, 7-0, and they have a one-game lead over Kutztown and a 2-game lead over Westchester. So it's hard to believe, Coach, that we're coming to the end of October. homecoming, and then seems like probably 4 weeks of senior days, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's just crazy how deep we are in the season. But as you said, one game at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big one for us because it's the next one, and we're excited about it.
And like Coach and I said, be at the stadium in the stadium by 3:15. Listen to the band play the anthem and the fight song, get you pumped up, and it's going to be a great day for college football. So for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you at the stadium, and if not, we'll see you next week on the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.